Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands, because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us, because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
I said, Yahuwah is blessing me right now, right now. Yahuwah is blessing me right now, right now. Whoa, he woke me up this morning and he started me on my way. Yahuwah is blessing me right now. Choir, please be seated. Shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. You know, when you are getting ready to be on a breakthrough, there's always spiritual opposition. And, that was kind of my case. Not just morning, that actually started yesterday. And it's interesting because I've learned that when the Most High is getting ready to move, there's always an element to things before things get moved. Yes, there's trials, Sister Leela. There's trials. But one of the things that shows the marker of you moving, it's not just that, oh, well, I feel that I've grown. How do you feel? Well, I can quantify and qualify experiences, and I believe Yah has given me the spirit. I'm moving from faith to faith and glory to glory. We can make those declarations, but it's not really even about what we say or what we declare. It's about our countenance. It's about our actions. And it's about when you are truly in that place where it's like, okay, thank you, Father. I'm just going to chill out. I'm going to relax. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to knock these things on out. I'm going to do, and honestly, and I did. And I did. And I'm a little tired this morning, not going to lie. Lion Pride, thank you for the gift. Hallelujah. And, as folks have seen, as they've looked recently on the Q2A website, it's redirected to another place. And I'm going to tell you this. I know that I've grown when I haven't absolutely lost my cookies. Because, I would have been like, well, this and that and this and that, and the enemy could swoop in, and the enemy, I used to account for the enemy a lot, right? The enemy. But it was one thing in this trial. I said, thank you, Father, thank you. Because I had been reaching on out to Brother Red. Red was our former IT person. And I mean, give a shout out to Red because Red did it all. And with that, we did take Red for granted. And I apologize for that one. Because there are some behind the scene conversations and it's like, oh, well, this and that. And, and those are some of the things that I have to grow with and I had to learn as a leader because you don't take your people for granted. And being around IT, I wasn't really an IT person. I could speak the IT lingo. I was IT adjacent. I mean, I was a IT PM, a project manager, but I wasn't in there doing configurations. I wasn't in these consoles and doing this and that. And when I did that, I was only doing it for about maybe 2 years at the most, and I really wasn't even in a lot of the apparatus. I just had my little program for records management, and I was doing things from there. But it was interesting because I was going through a real frustration. I'm like, oh man. I said, okay, well, Father, um, this needs to happen. This needs to happen. And I had that. I had things going on with different opportunities. I had. Let me just tell you, whatever was going on, you name it. I had school. Still have school. That's still a little bit of an issue. But I'm starting to actually see light at the end of the tunnel, and I kind of know why. I know that they penalize me, without saying that they penalize me. It's like, man, Negro, you need to get your stuff in before the due date. Don't. You're not allowed to sulk, lament, have those hairy times. And that's true. We're required to always be on our A game, all the time. It's a requirement. Whether or not we tend not to think that way, that's life. That's the life that the Most High gave us in this time of captivity. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we give up. It doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, we're going to throw in the towel. What it actually means is, when you understand how things are growing, then you understand how the Most High moves in the situation, and how your growth will then respond to how he moves. And never before, and I've seen some crazy ones, but never before, when I'm trying to get something done that's time sensitive, the person on the other side of the phone, I kid you not, they said, well, I only got 3% battery. I've been trying to charge my phone, and I only have enough time for a phone call, but we need to get this thing done because I need you to word this document a particular way for things to move along in the process. And you know me, well, you may not know me, but I'm just going to say, in matter of colloquialisms, but my personality is, wow, hallelujah, we're getting things done. And I'm getting phone calls and WhatsApps, and it's, and usually at that time I would normally get stressed out. I'd normally throw a big fit. Why, Father? Why'd you do it? I need to have it, in my comfortable circle. I need to be comfortable, right? And that's what we all demand. That is a requirement of comfort. Why? Because we learned comfort in Babylon. We all have. And that's not an indictment on this generation, but this is a generation where we've had the most, I would say, perceived amount of comfort. The perception of comfort is real. And I hear that all the time with people that I interact with at work. Well, we need to get back to normal, but I always tell people, who did normal benefit? See, the status quo was we need to get back to you being on the bottom and you not realizing that you're on the bottom, because once we realized that we're on the bottom, do you know what we actually did? We actually raised up our voices and we shouted to the heavens and we asked y'all to hear us from our lowly disposition, because we had zero power, zero might, and zero authority in our hands. No, you do not have an inherent authority. You don't. I'm sorry. And I know people may get mad at me. I don't have an inherent authority. No, you do not. Because if you think you had an inherent authority, then why did you not come out of captivity? Why did you not command the skies to open? Why did you not command that the captors make haste to provide everything that they're responsible for in a form of compensation or compensatory damages? You don't. You don't, because that's not the way that this system worked that the Most High put us in. The way when I listen to all of these different shows and channels and, well, it's this and that, they always like to skirt around the edges and the issues. But they don't actually go to the real issue. The real issue was our disobedience. And it was our disobedience to the King, to the Most High through his son Yahusha HaMashiach. We have been a disobedient and rebellious nation. Look, all of us. Don't think that you wake up, oh, I'm an Israelite. Oh, I know who I am. Hallelujah. And guess what? We think that we're going to command the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky. Where is my white mist cloud covered Cadillac chariot? Where's my wheel within a wheel? Oh, I need to go somewhere. Oh, I'm running late for my appointment. Wheel within a wheel. Start engine. Wheel within a wheel. Plug into Waze. You know how crazy that sounds? I know. If you didn't have a sense of a gut punch, knowing that you were an Israelite, if you didn't have a sense of remorse and regret, knowing that you were an Israelite, then you may have woken up to shame and not even have realized it yet, because you may have woken up to your vanity. Shame and contempt. Daniel chapter 12 makes it clear. And now you have a lot of folks, oh, well, we're indigenous here, we're this and that there, we're this. They're running back and forth to and fro, and they're looking stupid. I'm sorry, they're looking stupid. Well, what about these records, this history? Well, it's from, the 15th, 16th century. It's before they started to alter things. When they would tell the truth about races and nations, they would actually tell the truth about nations, because they haven't actually qualified races at that time. That was done in the 17th and 18th century. And a lot of our brothers and sisters, they ran right into the comfort zone of what the enemy had provided. Oh, the enemy did provide folks to run into a comfort zone. Oh, you awoke? Oh, I know awakening is scary. Oh, I know you got to know that you're an Israelite, but we have these options for you. Option A, you can be combative, you can be aggressive, you can just delve all into your fleshly desires. Option B, you could just ignore and cower and go back to sleep. Or option C, it's not the greatest option. It's, not a lot of people choose this option, but you could move in humility and ask the Most High to give you spiritual understanding and wisdom through his son Yahushua HaMashiach. I know it has that Christianity overtone. It has this and that. I think it's a white supremacist thing. You know I'm going with this, right? Because that was everything that we had encountered as spirit-filled believers that read the word, that understood the truth, that understood how things were going to play out and how things are playing out. To see everything unfold the way that it's unfolding. And I'm sorry, but this is the reality. We had to go through a reality check. And you want to know the awesome thing about all of this? Let me put this back full circle on this. The awesome thing about all of this is that the Most High, in his, not just his wisdom, not just his grace, not just his mercy, but in his ultimate love for us, he gave us grace to have the time to be able to go through the motions. And a lot of us have gone through those motions, those emotions, those different things. We had to look in the mirror. We had to see what was going on. We had to see our actions. We had to ask, is what we're doing pleasing to him? Or is it pleasing to our flesh? And you've had to see folks that had the thoughts of their flesh being what they pleased. Oh, well, the Most High is never going to get us out of captivity. Oh, it's just this. If he would have gotten us out of captivity, he would have done it already, right? Like I said, now do you understand how you can see the trap? Go ahead and build on your acres. Go ahead and build on your farms. Go ahead and build on your land. How you going to build when you ain't got no fuel? When you have an economic standstill, oh yeah, and you realize they really don't want you here. So good luck getting to those resources. Well, this land is our land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. And I pray that our people are starting to understand these. That's what they are, COINTELPRO operators that will catch you if you do not have spiritual discernment. If you're not asking to be led by the Ruach HaKodesh, and if you've been asking to be led by the flesh, oh, the enemy is going to take care of you, and he is going to take care of you. You don't understand. The way that he takes care of you is that he processes you, boxes you up, and you're then served for real. We're not talking no late 90s, early 2000s dance flick here. We're talking they were literally and have been, and they continue to do, don't get it twisted. The delectable Negro. Oh, I thought that was just something. See, when look, you know, probably I'm just gonna say this. I'm speculating here because they were naming them folks a dish. But I'm telling you, when you probably when those files start to come out and you start to see they probably had the delectable Negro and the Caucasian hors d'oeuvres. They gonna playing. What? They're eating us too? No, no, no. The agreement is they're just supposed to eat black people. See, I've had these conversations in the background. What are their limits? What are they allowed to do and not allowed to do in this captivity? And when people try to say, well, it's supposed to be this karmic process. No, 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 no. Remember, Yahuwah is an Elohim of righteousness, right? Remember, the word says, look, and they took it too far. We were to be punished. They punished us, but they took it too far. Why is that? Because there's a scale. There's weights and measures. See, when you're reading Psalms, when you're reading Proverbs, when you're reading how the Most High moves to administer things, there's a spiritual management thing. And people don't understand what that spiritual management is because they never read the word. You never read Proverbs. You never read Lamentations. You never read Song of Solomon. You never read Psalms. There was going to be a time when we cried out, and our cry out is what is literally destroying them right now as we speak. We've cried out. And like I had said, they don't like it when we cry out because our crying out, it produces something. It's a manifestation of the Most High's arm because his arm is still on his people because our awakening wasn't of our own volition. It was a spiritual one. When people say, well, how come everybody can't awaken? Because it's a spiritual one. If you've noticed, a lot of our people weren't allowed to be awakened because they just couldn't handle it. Not everybody is made to be rams. There are some people that still are sheep. And you know what? And that's okay. It's what the Most High chooses and how he delights in what he chooses. That's it. But I told you all they're going to get the memo. And when they get the memo is going to come when it hurts them. These gas prices are hurting them. And they're hurting them so much so that now, look, when I say these options are running out, they don't know what to do. Oh, we signed up 14. We have a 14-point proposal, just like the JCPOA, the Joint Commission Powers something. I forgot what that was. It was what Obama did. They're not original. So when you hear all these people talk about, oh, well, you know, well, we'll get rid of black people and, excuse me, and we'll have a utopia. Okay. That's look, let them live in their fallacy. Let them live in their dreamland. Because it was funny. I was watching a YouTuber. Shout out to Amazing Lucas. There are things I agree with him there. There are some things, you know, eschatology wise, or, you know, if you think that you have representation in a system that wasn't created for us and was expressly created to ensure that we would look confused and stay confused because you had people that had pledged their allegiance to a principality. And if you've noticed that, people are talking about the Civil Rights Act and the voting rights and all of this other stuff. Well, it takes one of our people, because why? They were trying to say, look, you've consented to your captivity. Do you think that that them 20 and odd Negroes, when they arrived at Point Comfort, that they were treated as what they are treated now? Do you think that they were treated as what they were treated during the highlights of antebellum? Absolute, actually, no. The history actually proves it. The documents prove it. The Commonwealth Papers of Virginia prove it. They had to have the messaging, right? They've always been about media, public relations. Hey, we have to make sure that these Negroes, they don't get too scary. I know it can be a scary thing, but hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Afterwards, you're going to get your papers, and then afterwards, you can live the dream. You don't have to worry about a king. All right. Well, we didn't really worry about a king anyway. Well, you got here and you were in Africa and, doing whatever. Yeah, we were actually living our life, planning, being healthy, being relatively stress free until the war came. The war that you all declared and had your agents and your proxies. Don't get it twisted. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. Hey, we showed you how this good life is. Do you want to continue to have this good life? Yeah. All right, we're going to have to sell it on your people. Okay. Now they've realized that they sold out. Don't think that these folks are going to be living in the lavish life of luxury. No. It's the use and abuse. And they already know that you had the older Negroes that are there, and they're going to use and abuse. Hey, you lived a good life. Now you may be done. That's how that works. Okay, you have another couple of court cases to completely dismantle everything. Because why? Because they know that they are not allowed to destroy us. Understand, they know the edict there. Why do you think one of the first places that they did, quote unquote, for quote unquote illegal immigration, quote unquote, hey, we need to find out what they can do in Africa, quote unquote. We didn't see it then because they weren't going to tell us. You see it now because it's now on full display. Oh, people are starting to put two and two together. It's, you're going to have that analysis, come to Yahusha moment. It does. And I've never seen it quite so dramatically put in place, where even the most hardened, oh, well, in November, and I'm like, yeah, you may have to get your Wycliffe Jean on, because it looks like that America's probably going to be gone by November. It'll be gone by November. Just tell Iran to remember China and Russia and North Korea in the judgment they play. This place will not be the same way. Cause still it's black people that cry. Oh, I love my captivity, but it may be gone by November. Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I had to pop that on out. No, but here's the thing. They don't. I understand what you're saying, Brother Charles is saying. Do these people understand that if they kick us out without nothing, that this sin will be worse than their original sin against the Most High people? What does it say? You're going to be fleeing. Now, and I know it's hard for folks to really wrap their heads around this because they're going to tell you that there's absolutely nothing over in Africa. It's an S-hole country. It's this and that. But then why are you having some of these folks of their ilk that wanted to cosplay and they're getting like 500 hectares or 500,000 something, a very nominal figure of land over in Africa? Why? Because our people are still believing their lies. We're there. We're not getting it just yet. And it's funny because as I had talked about the story of California receiving the last shipment of oil from the Persian Gulf. That oil has to go through. It has to be refined because our refineries are built for that particular brand of crude. And people are finally realizing, well, that's probably the last shipment. So now we're in false flag watch. We really are. If you didn't know that, this is false flag watch. Next week is literally, what is it, May Day or Flag Day or something day. And they're gearing up for China. They're gearing up because, China's saying that a nuclear Iran it's okay with them. Who was really messing with the Iranians? Well, what did the Iranians do? Excuse me. The Iranians took back power that had been usurped under a CIA coup back in the 1950s. They were living under that oppression. They took back their power. They said, okay, well, we're going to have a theocratic government, and we're going to go from there. And America has hated that ever since. Do you think that America is going to give up just because, oh, well, we put in a deal? Get out of here. And I have to say this. The only people that think that the Iranians are dumb at this point in time throughout the world is really just Americans. And now, in this point in time in the world, the only people that think that Americans are smart are just Americans. Because they can't even understand that the same tactic over and over. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's an insane nation. What is it? This is what it is. It's insane. It's insanity. Oh, you're just going to do the same thing. How'd you know? Oh, you're just going to do the same thing. How did you know? But we laugh because we told them this. You all realize that we've been saying this, and because we've been saying this, and I laugh because, again, on cue, the very same thing that always happens. And I'm sorry that I took such a long time in my opening monologue. Live from Thursday morning, live from Tampa Bay. It's Covenant Awakenings. I could be playing my tenor sax and belting on out some chords. Because all of a sudden, here we go from Wednesday, May 26th. This is as of 5 yesterday. Jason Burke, Shamir Balok in Islamabad, and Hannah Ellis Peterson in Delhi were reporting from TheGuardian.com. U.S. fires on Iranian flagged oil tanker as Trump gives Tehran fresh ultimatum. President tells Iran to accept deal to end war or face new wave of bombing at much higher level intensity. Well, remember, they were supposed to do everything at a much, the shock and all, they raining down fire and all this other stuff. And, you get to that point in time where it's like, okay, well then if you're ready, we're ready. If you're ready to do this, man, we're going to do this. Let's do this. Look, no more talk. Either you're going to punch me in the face or I'm just going to laugh at you. And here's the thing, we're not black folks. And it's not to insult black people. It's not. But they know we're not black people. We're not gonna be fearful of when we do break your arm, when we do lay you out, and you come with your posse. Have you noticed they don't have a posse anymore? Have you noticed that their backup of European nations, they're still stuck in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, talking about we're supporting you from afar. We're leading from behind. How you gonna lead from behind? I don't know, but Obama said it, and I just still shook my head at the lunacy of that one. You don't lead anybody from behind. Oh, we're gonna step up. And now you have Trump. Oh yeah, we have the biggest, bestest ever, and this is gonna happen, and because we have the greatest. And it's laughable. It is. It's absolutely laughable. And now the rest of the world are kind of laughing because they're like, is this for real? They don't know if it's a joke or not. When the options run out, take the deal, get the ultimatum. It's going to be at a higher intensity. Okay, it's going to be higher. You want to know who that does? You want to know what is actually happening right now? They're actually force feeding them a line, a narrative that's not real. And that's what they're doing. It's vain imaginations. Now, here's also this. So don't get stuck in the quagmire, because I know some folks had asked about this earlier. This is from CNBC. Trump's abrupt U-turn on a plan to reopen the Strait of Hormuz came after backlash from allies. Saudi Arabia, key Gulf allies, suspended the U.S. military's ability to use its bases and airspace to carry out the operation, sources say. So again, this is as of May 6th. This is an hour later by Moshe Gaines, Courtney Cube, Andrew Mitchell, and Natasha Lebedeva and Daniel Arkin, President Donald Trump's abrupt reversal on his plan to help ships go through the Strait of Hormuz came after a key Gulf ally suspended the U.S. military's ability to use its bases and airspace to carry out the operations, according to two U.S. officials. Trump surprised Gulf allies by announcing Project Freedom on social media Sunday, the official said, angering leadership in Saudi Arabia. Do you want to know why this came on out? This is a Safe Face article. You got to remember, Saudi, they are, and that's maybe because with me being there, understanding the intricacies of how that happens, they're not very safe. And they will have internal politics, and they will overthrow the crown prince. Don't get it twisted. They have their internal rumblings and dealings also. And the biggest key to Saudi Arabia, it's not the U.S. Saudis are for Saudis, for real. That's it. And if you're going to show a weakness like that, then that shows the weakness of the royal family, and that could be detrimental. I.e., so detrimental, I mean, cutting the heads off, or, removing your head from your shoulder and putting your nose on your butt crack. Imagine that graphic. And yes, they will do that. All of this stuff of, well, we got to do this to Saudi. Just think about this. Why are they doing that? Why is the U.S. so hell-bent on the destruction of Persia? Why? Well, it's just because of this. It's just because of that. And they don't really actually like to go to the source. The source is the word. The source is literally the word and other scripture that had been taken out of the word. Because why are you going to have prophecy talk about the end of this age? Age of what? The end of this era of their of their kingdom. Their rule is our captivity, plain and simple. So why do they want our captivity to end, which is their rulership? You got to be captive to somebody. There has to be a balancing of that equation. So now here we are in this time where you have to basically appeal to the people. And as the people are really beginning to see, because I don't know if you all have looked at the photos that purportedly came from Iran. And I said this, they got satellite imagery. You're not going to have the satellite imagery be published here in the United States. I said that last week. Excuse me. I said they're not going to have the satellite imagery be published here in the United States. And now all of a sudden, what is Iran doing? They're releasing the satellite imagery, and they're showing you how bad things were. Like I said, I don't even think they're even going to tell you the true extent of the casualties, the KIA. Because if they do, they wouldn't label it under this conflict. They would label it under other mechanisms. i.e., training. What was the training operation? Where's the location classified? Oh, okay. I guarantee you when you start to see those numbers that are published. Okay, what are the FOIA? I need a FOIA request for all not killed in action or deleted in action. You're gonna have to put your thinking caps on, and you're gonna have to really do some super sleuthing. Who here had been deleted in a classified training activity? What are the numbers? This is the time that I need to put my Cash App up because Brother Karras is giving y'all some real keen information of what to look for in FOIA requests. If you like to support this channel, he's saying a bit too much. I like to also give the caveat of this. I do not or in any way have the intent to harm myself. I love me as the Most High loves me. I am in a content place under Yahuwah, being covered under the blood of his son, Yahusha HaMashiach. My exit plan in this earth is not by my own hand. So if I do experience two pew pews to the back of my head, I'm just gonna say, look, you fill in the pieces. These are their options. The time is running out. Look, they're not going to tell you the truth. They just have to go harder and harder and harder. Because why? Because that's the calculus of the wicked. The wicked have a different calculus than us. Well, we do this because we do that because why? Because again, do you think that in this warfare that they would ever concede? Well, we wouldn't concede. So that's why we had to bomb Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Right? They told you that was if you didn't know, that was their biggest projection ever. Well, why'd you use those two atomic bombs? We wouldn't give up. We would fight to the death. So that's what our calculus was. And they were like, yeah, we're about to surrender, throwing a white flag. Do you see the projections? Y'all think that they're just going to ship in billions of dollars worth of military equipment, personnel, material, you name it? Well, we just have it as precautionary measures. Get out of here. In a place that's literally ran out of money way before they're running out of oil. They ran out of money with the bond markets right before this conflict, this excursion kicked off, quote unquote. There's no turning back from this. For those that believe that America's turning back from this, okay, all right. Look, we can all believe in what you want to believe. Look, people think that their horses on out here. I'm just saying. They even do the cosmetic surgery to turn themselves into a horse. So I'm not going to tell people nothing. And enjoy your fantasy. But for those that actually do not want to be deleted looking like a crazy furry animal, this is where we have to see their movements and be very aware and very keen. This is where, as a people, we need to be coming together and praying and asking the Most High to give us direction, to give us mercy, to give us favor as we're working on things, as we're doing the work, as we're doing the labor. One of the things that I always say, look, I'm not going to be able to show you everything in the background, but the Most High is moving. And that's pretty awkward. And it's awkward because we've had that situation. These situations, they're not uncommon. We just have to be able to work and move in wisdom. That's how that goes. So for us, our options, and I know my option has always been to trust the Most High. That's it. That's the only thing I could do is just trust and believe on His word, on His promises. This is a growth point. This is an inflection point for all those that call on Yahuwah through His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. That's it. We haven't even talked about the rat virus, the hantavirus. What you gonna do when that rat comes for you? And we're not, listen, if they call it the rat virus, I'm gonna call it the Chuck E. Cheese virus. The Chuck E. Cheese virus is no joke. All right, family. I gotta get up on out of here and get some things done. Get some things accomplished. So with that said, family, most high willing, I will be back on tomorrow to talk about what's going on in the continent. A lot of things are actually going on in the continent. It's pretty amazing to see. The last time we've witnessed Mali with I don't think people truly under or appreciate this, a 15,000 person coordination. Yeah, he says, now you know it's a defamation issue, don't you? Look, it's either Chuck E. Cheese or Mickey Mouse. Whether the virus is gonna, it's it's not fun or it's not entertaining. This is no way indicative of Chuck E. Cheese or Mickey Mouse or the endorsements thereof. The views of Covenant Awakenings is not in support of what the host is saying on this channel. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use. Thoughts and opinions. I'll give my little disclaimer. So, yeah, that's all I got. Let me tell you, today is Thursday. Friday. Friday's going to be interesting, but I tell you this, I'm still looking at next Friday. We're now within the week window for the China visit. And then you're going to start to see they're going to start talking some major trash about China and the Chinese and everything else. Probably starting tomorrow. That's how that goes. You have to understand that's how these trips go. And then when it comes to, they're going to say, oh, the Chinese are so hostile and this and that. And then China is going to come back and be like, yeah, we kind of knew it. And we're going to go from there. So a lot of things are getting ready to get really crazy. Because again, you're going to see their game plan. And when their game plan plays on out, look, nobody's going to be surprised. Well, there's going to be people surprised, but that's all I got to say. All right, family, if I don't see it, nothing of major significance pops off. There's a 48-hour ultimatum. I don't know. Well, we decided to give them what we decided, or it could pop off, right? They may want to flex before the Chinese trip. We're just trying to figure this thing on out together, as the Most High gives us the wisdom and insight to move forward in this. But guess what? No matter what, His word still remains the same. That's it. So, with that said, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.